believed in natural rights. Whenever the legislators, who are legislators, what do? Lawmakers. Yeah, government. Whenever the legislators endeavor to take away, for those of you who are new, if you have this up on Blackboard, Jesse, can you not face Courtney, please? Thanks. If you have it up on Blackboard, words that are highlighted, put your cursor over it and it gives you a definition. Helps you with the reading. So, whenever the legislators endeavor to take away and destroy the property of the people, or to reduce them to slavery under arbitrary power, they put themselves into a state of war with the people, who are thereupon absolved from any further obedience. Power then devolves to the people, who have a right to resume their original liberty, and by the establishment of a new legislative, such as they shall think fit, provide for their own safety and security, which is the end for which they are in society. It's difficult reading because it was written 200 years ago. This is how they wrote. This is how they thought. This is how they spoke. We don't speak this way anymore. That's why we need to go through it together to understand it. And I've given you some direction with some of those pop-ups. What does it mean if I have arbitrary power over you? Anybody want to guess as to what that might mean? If my power is arbitrary? It's what? Unwielding, yes. What else? I can do whatever I want. I kick you out of school, you're expelled. Just because he looked at me the wrong way. Or I could do whatever I want. I don't have to have justification for it. Nobody's going to tell me I can't do it. I get total power and I can do whatever I want. The king had that power. And that's what the colonists were very mad about, this arbitrary power. That's called tyranny. And they said, if a leader is using arbitrary power and is tyrannical, what do you do with that leader? You overthrow him. Yes.
Kick his butt.
Okay. So, questions. In a minimum of 2, you're doing this in your notebook. So in your notebook, skip a line from where you just did your paragraph and put primary sources. Primary sources. And then the first, I'll put John Locke. And there's going to be 4 questions on John Locke. In a minimum of 2 sentences, summarize what John Locke is saying about government in this excerpt. So he's basically saying what? Why? Good. It sucks. But that's not academic, is it? You can't write that in your 2 sentences. Let's talk about how do we support that idea that it's not good. 1, they're taking away people's rights and taxing them. Let's see. I'll just excuse you from this. Just listen, okay? And what else is he saying? So the government is being unruly, tyrannical. So what should the people do? Rebel. Overthrow the government. They should take the power in their own hands and get a new government. Basically. 2 sentences describing that. Remind me of the class. Okay.
I'm tired.
Number 2, what were John Locke's most famous Enlightenment ideas? Pick out 3 words from the excerpt that are relevant to his Enlightenment thinking. He's known for what? Natural rights. And what would be, bless you, the 3 natural rights that he speaks of? Similar to the ones in the Declaration? Life, liberty, and he says, and property. We changed it in the Declaration to say the pursuit of happiness. Number 3, what action does John Locke insist that people should take if their government is tyrannical and oppressive? Carlos? They should rebel. They should overthrow that government and get a new one that is going to protect the people's rights. And the last question, transport yourselves back to the colonial period. Do you think John Locke's ideas were revolutionary, were extreme for this time period? Vignesh? Oh. Okay, yeah. They probably thought about it because they hated the king, but they never put it out in paper and talked about it and spread these ideas, because what could happen to you if you did this? Treason. You could be beheaded. These are treasonous ideas. Yeah.
What's on the back? I forgot. What's on the back? I don't want to see.
Pretty much the front.
Okay, Article 2. Are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
One more minute?
What? Alright, cool.
The second primary source is taken from the actual Declaration of Independence, one of our most famous documents in American history, written by Thomas Jefferson. He says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed." What does that mean?
It's pretty cute.
How do governments get their power in America? From the people, the consent of the people. The people are saying, yes, this is what we want. And if the people don't want that, what do? They vote in a new person. Yeah. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. So it is people's responsibility in America to keep a government that is going to protect the people's rights, protect their safety, protect their happiness, protect their property. And if the government's not doing that, new government needs to come in. Okay? So the questions are, summarize what rights Thomas Jefferson believed all men were given at birth. Again, almost exactly the same as John Locke, but he changes the last one.
I must feel it later.
Tiana, can you tell me those 3 rights that Thomas Jefferson believed all men are born with? Excellent. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Number 2, which